Back again here, a little bit of an absence. Took the show on the road a little bit. KJ Jackson, Quincy Rhodes, back with Peyton Hillis and our senior analyst here to my right in the building, Mike Irwin. Mike, awesome to have you on, man. Talking a lot to talk about. We're going to be getting into it here. We're talking now some things that Ryan Silverfield said recently about the program, where some things stand. Used the term bidding wars, usually not great whenever the head coach is bringing up money, but that happened. Maybe trying to temper some expectations. We're going to dive into that. Also, the college ball playoff, it looks like it's moving to 24 teams. I don't like it. I think they got a good product right now.
I want to challenge you two guys.
Then you're allowed to. You're allowed to. We got freedom of speech. Nobody speaks his mind like Peyton Hillis and Mike Irwin. And also a little side topic. It is called the All Things Arkansas Football Show, but really it should be the All Things Arkansas Sports Show. How about the baseball team kind of making a turn now? 3 straight series wins. It looks like 2 wins against Kentucky, Mike. That's going to be enough for them to host a regional.
I don't see it. I still think they're going to have I don't know.
Up to number 10 in the Baseball America poll.
Yeah, I know.
12 in the D1 baseball
They've
poll.
got 2 things going on at
the
the same
RPI
time.
is
They're
still
starting
low.
to hit home runs, but they're giving up home runs. So it's a wash. You hit 4 and then you give up 5, so you lose. I mean, it's a strange situation with this team.
Yeah, the pitching seems to just be a little bit too inconsistent. Peyton Hillis, big fan.
Why did we pitch?
Big fan of the baseball program. See him at the games all the time, man. Arkansas super fan number 1 here, Peyton Hillis.
I was really frustrated we didn't try to really truly pick up that third game.
Well, they tried.
I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get into it.
They came back 3 times.
No, I'm not going to get into it. I'm just going to say pitching. That's all I'm going to say. I am worried about going on the road trying to win 2 games at Kentucky. Yeah. When we could have just won 1, and that could have been very.
And Kentucky's getting better.
Yes, they are. Did you see how they played against Florida this past week?
And I believe Kentucky, if they're not a tournament team, they're like right there. They're on the bubble. If they're not in, they're one of the first teams out.
I don't. It is not easy playing at Kentucky.
It is
not easy. I mean, I'm really worried that we're not going to pull out 2 games. I really am.
Well, football-wise, the crowd kind of, back in the day at least, lull you to sleep. Little empty stands, kind of a sleepy game. Jefferson Pilot time slot.
I don't know. Like Tim Couch, Jared Lorenzen days. I mean, those are good days.
R.I.P.
They had some good teams.
Yeah.
Hal Mummy, yeah. It was a different time, but certainly a basketball school. But, man, coaches, Mark Stoops got a lot of money to go away there. Now, is it Mark Stein? The gentleman from Oregon is now.
Yeah.
Now there.
I don't know why, but Kentucky's like one of those SEC teams you kind of forget about. I don't know why. There's probably teams that think that about Arkansas too. But for me,
teams just think they're basketball, and anything that's not basketball at Kentucky's no good, and that's not true.
That's not true.
Yeah, see, right. I would agree with what you guys are saying. Football, it's an afterthought, but in basketball, that's the first thing you think about.
Yeah,
people still thinking about Coach Cal there, and Eddie Sutton and Adolph Rupp going way back, or Rick Pitino, whatever it may be. People talk, Peyton, a lot about the Arkansas curse, and I think a lot of fan bases think that they're cursed. If anybody's got a gripe, it's the baseball team. The baseball team might be. The way things, I actually think 2018 is a little bit overblown. Hear me out. Should they have made the play? No question. That's it.
More. Nothing else.
But it wasn't an easy.
There's nothing else.
Hear me out, and then you go. It wasn't an easy play, but yes, they should have made it.
Wasn't an easy play. Wasn't an easy play.
Wasn't a hard play. You're gonna get to go. You're gonna get to go in a second. Now, hold on. Now, last year, that was an absolute gag job. It started with the play at first. Then we go to Vahiva Aloy not taking the double play. Yeah. Then that mess in left field. That was not a one thing. That was an all-timer, as opposed to one foul ball that was a little bit of a tough play in 2018.
A little foul ball. Dude, hold on. No, wait.
The second baseman overran it, threw the whole thing off. It is, the floor is now yours, Mr. Baseball. Party animal superstar.
After last year, when I talked to fans, they were all, he slipped there, and he slipped there in left field. That's why he didn't make it. There was a lot of excuses about every one of those plays of why it didn't happen, the double play, so forth and so on. That play in 18, I'd never heard one person say, well, it was a tough one. I mean, it was no.
Mike, what was the second?
What do you think, Mike?
What was the second baseman's name? Carson Shaddy, maybe. Whoever it was that overran it, kind of threw the play off.
It wasn't his play. I mean,
It should have been the right
fielder. And here's the thing. Van Horn is in charge of that defense. I've watched it. Now, I haven't watched him lately, but when I used to go over and watch baseball practices in fall ball and in preseason, that's the part he did. You know, he was out there with the infield and doing all, and there are rules you follow. And they didn't follow their rules, and you do that in football, and you're a moron. They get all over you. You're a dumb coach. You didn't coach the guys right.
But don't you think, Mike, though, that when everybody's going for a fly ball, say if there's a shortstop, second baseman, center field, they're all going for one. The center fielder is supposed to call you off, but everybody's going to it like you're supposed to catch the ball. Though.
Well, there are rules, and they didn't follow the rules.
Yeah,
and you can't get any closer to winning a national championship than catch the ball, drop the ball. Catch it, you win. Drop it, you don't.
That's right.
Let me make this clear. They should have made that play. But people that act like it was an absolute slam dunk should have 100% happened. I think it was.
Whenever you go to Little League and they miss that play and parents get mad, it's because it's an easy play, right?
It's because you're supposed to be organized.
Yes, you're supposed to make that play.
But then we go last year, you got a 2-run lead, 1 out, nobody on. The
We
pitcher
screwed up
underhands
3
the
times
ball
in a row.
into the bleachers
I'm not.
on a play at first that gets things going.
I'm not arguing.
Your All-American Player of the Year shortstop with a 2-run lead and the runner at third means absolutely nothing. Doesn't try the double play to win the game. And then in left field, yes, it looked like Davalon slipped and just one thing led to another.
You know, besides pitching decisions, I never really said, Van Horn made a bad decision. Coaching this, I think those are on the players. Every one of those situations you're talking about. I mean, you can lead a horse to water, can't make him drink. I mean, they run. There's a reason why they're in the national championship game. It's because they have been so well coached and they have done really well.
That's a good point.
If you do not make those plays when it matters, it's not on the coach then.
You know what that 9th inning screamed? Arkansas was not ready for the moment. They just couldn't handle the pressure.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, why are you going?
How do you get ready for the moment?
Why do you believe in clutch?
I believe that people are
or do you believe the game's not different in the 3rd inning or the 9th inning?
No.
You don't think so?
No, I believe. Obviously,
I think players perform differently when the pressure's on.
Pressure's on,
and that's what I mean by the moment.
But when it comes to being clutch, that's just something that's naturally in you. I believe. I think there's guys out there that fold, and I think there's guys out there that are going to, like Tom Brady, they're just going to break
always
through.
Ready for the moment.
And I mean, of course, you're going to find those players who they are, but catching a freaking fly ball, I don't care how much pressure is on. Come on.
He should have made the play. He should have made the play.
It was an easy play.
I have never, my wife and I, we were in Italy that time. So we woke, there was time difference. We woke, hey, did they do it? And she is an alum. I'm kind of born or I guess married into the whole Arkansas thing. And I was like, oh man, how they lost the game. You knew that it was kind of over after that night. And I will never, ever forget the shot of Van Horn after he dropped that. He put his hand on his mouth and you could see his hand shaking. Oh, bro. Nobody deserves it more than Dave, who's an absolute class act.
No doubt about that.
I think that was the most heartbreaking moment in Arkansas history. But Mike, you were around for what was the game? The Richard Nixon game? What year was that? You were there probably.
Well, no, I wasn't there. I was going to North Texas State, but I had a weekend job at Leonard's department store in Fort Worth, which is 25 miles away from Denton. I would drive down there every Saturday, and I ran the Boy Scout department. It was a desk with a Boy Scout catalog. They had displays of equipment, but you had to order this stuff. And I would just sit behind the counter and take orders from people. The parents' guy'd come in there with his dad or his mom and order this pup tent or order this canteen or whatever they thought was cool, and they'd look through the catalog. It was a pretty easy job. But it was in the boys' department on the 2nd floor. Well, in the basement was the employee lounge with a TV. So I go down there to take a break to watch the first part of the football game. I never came back. I was never there. I should have been fired. I don't know what happened, but I watched the whole thing down there, and it was like, oh, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, what in the world happened? Because I hate the University of Texas. Hate them. And to this day, I mean, that's where it all started. That's where, when you talk, you can't say curse of Nolan, because Nolan was coaching high school back then. You know, it just, I don't know. I just think if you have an athletic program and it's successful in multiple sports, you're going to have these moments.
Yeah,
in every sport.
What's worse? You know, failing on the biggest stage or not getting to the biggest stage at all?
That was my dad's philosophy. Every time we lost a tough game, he would say, you know, if you don't want to go through this, sit up in the stands with the rest of us. You know, it's easier for us than it is for you, but if you don't like it, if you don't want to put up with it, if you don't want to deal with how you feel when you lose a game you should have won, then come and sit in the stands. Don't play.
You know, I feel like with Arkansas sports especially, it's the small things that have screwed us into coming to these big games. I mean, Sterner, the fumble. I mean, it's not like, you know.
Do you remember watching that?
I remember watching.
What was going through your mind?
I thought it was fake. I couldn't believe it.
He just
like he threw the game or something. How did this happen?
I mean, like, it was like, I mean, if it'd been today, I've said it's AI for sure. Like it was just a big goof. Like I could not believe. Like you're thinking to yourself, you know, when somebody fumbles the ball, to me that's different because you're running, you're trying to make a play, and you don't know where the ball goes. Somebody knocks it out, but right there,
where your All-American offensive lineman screwed up. He took an extra step and stepped on his foot. But then Sterner should have just fallen on the ball. But he tried to balance himself on the ball, and then it went everywhere. Oh, man.
Think about what would have changed. You can say what if all day.
They would have been 9-0, 2 games to go.
But you remember when we had Coach Nutten here and we were talking about it. He just said the air was just gone.
He said the two losses that hurt him the most were that and the 06 game against Florida. Where you had the lead in the fourth quarter, right?
Reggie Fist fumble.
You didn't play in that game, correct?
Nope.
And I think you said that hurts. Watching that and not being able to play was one of the most painful things you had to go through.
Well, just because I know, I can catch a punt.
You were
I was going to catch. I'm going to catch a punt.
And now you were the backup punt returner.
No, I was the punt returner.
Okay, I thought maybe somebody had it early in the year, but no, you were the primary punt returner.
No, not because I was such a great punt returner, just because we didn't have a lot of guys that can catch the ball.
That had hands, yeah.
But guys, with every disaster, there's usually some redemption thing. Okay, you go to the Sterner fumble, but then that creates a situation the very next year where Anthony Lucas catches that touchdown pass. And I'm telling you, I was up on the photo deck, and the fans stormed the field. Who is that tight end, the tall guy?
He lives out in Bentonville.
He
now.
still lives up there. Boy, I'm forgetting names, but I love this guy. But anyway, he was about 6'8", and his head was sticking up above everybody else's, and he was looking around like, where do I go? They all ran down, tore the goalpost down, took it down to Dixon Street, duct taped it to this building down there, and it was just – and then – it was amazing.
Was that a redemption story, though, you think?
I think it is a little bit.
I mean, that was national championship the year before. The next year, we're not looking for a national championship.
But some of those are what about?
I want to know the redemption story for Arkansas baseball, though.
Well, okay, maybe.
The winningest program since 2017, and they could do it this year. I don't think they will.
No, me and my dad said this is the year they do it.
And you know what?
Honestly,
gotta love them. Ole Miss did it as the last team in.
I think one of the best wins in the history of Arkansas football was beating #1 LSU at LSU, and the way it happened and the way it was done. Those guys were the national champions. You beat them in a place where they're not supposed to lose.
With a coach that's about to get fired.
And it was amazing.
Yeah, and they won the national championship.
Yeah. And so, you didn't win it yourself. And then, of course, Nutt left, and they had the bowl game against Missouri. Missouri always catches Arkansas at the right time.
Everybody was not, Darren and Figgs thinking, man, I don't want to get hurt. There's so much of that going on.
And back then you had to play.
Yeah.
It would have been, the NFL would have been like, whoa, why isn't he, now they view it differently. But back then it was almost like a question of your character.
I can remember those bowl workouts. And was it Herring that was in charge?
Yeah, Reggie Herring, pink jersey.
So he's running the practice. He's down there. And then I see up there in the weight room, guess who's staring at everybody? It's
Bobby.
Bobby Petrino.
No.
And he has this look like, I was just like, oh my goodness, this is really strange.
I got the box score up from that LSU game. 50-48 was the final. I don't know if it was 3 overtimes or 4. Arkansas threw the ball 24 times. Casey Dick threw it 18 times. Darren threw it 6. The line for Peyton Hillis, 11 carries, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was the leading receiver, 5 receptions, 62 yards.
All around.
2 touchdowns. That was your Mona Lisa, dude. That was,
I don't know, but I know it was a great game.
4 touchdowns?
It was, I mean, honestly, I think it was a great way to cap out my career at Arkansas.
If you look at the block Casey Dick threw on that McFadden touchdown, it could have been called a clip. It was real close.
I've always thought that. It was, but I never said anything because it's in my favor. Yeah.
So perfect that we're talking about this, because one of the things I really want to get to here, that game wouldn't really mean anything in a 12-team playoff era or a 24-team playoff era, because it would mean nothing to LSU. Maybe, I guess, it could help potentially Arkansas get in. Probably still wouldn't have been enough at that time. How do you feel about a 24-team playoff that the AFCA, the College Football Coaches Association, is pushing for and recommending?
I'm thinking that if they're going to expand the playoffs like this, there's going to be a lot more money coming in.
Yes.
To NIL, obviously, and to pay players, because you're talking about, for these teams, an NFL season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
20
this is a lot of football.
24, that would be 5 games, I think, for some teams in the playoff. 4 for some, 5 for others, potentially. That's half a season,
I mean, yeah. And, I mean, heck, you're looking at an NFL football season right there for some of these
I've had
guys.
people say you can't put a team in the playoffs with 4 losses. There's no way they can win a national championship. They're wrong. Let's say you're a good team, but you lose your quarterback early and you play let's say you're a Georgia and you play an Ohio State and your quarterback gets hurt in that game and you lose it and you lose 2 or 3 more early in the season. Then he comes back and you get on a roll and you're going and you're going and you're going. But under the system now, you don't get in. Then under this system, you would get in, and then you might win a national championship.
In theory, I understand what you're saying, but has that ever happened?
Well, no, because you haven't let a team in with 4 losses.
Okay, how about give me a team that you thought that could have happened?
How about Texas? Arch Manning
year.
struggled.
Come on.
By the end of the year, he looked like one of the best quarterbacks
He
in
was
the
getting
SEC.
better.
And did you see the bowl game against Michigan?
Bowl games, please.
Oh, come on. They all played. They all played. There were nobody sitting out. Come on. That was, and they were playing that game.
Also, I would argue this, because people say you don't belong. If you can't win it, you don't belong in it. So the only schools that
I do agree with that.
Okay, let me tell you what the flaw in that is. Let's go to basketball, because Drew Ammon and I were up in Detroit at an first-round NCAA basketball regional, and we go back to the room after doing all our work, and guess who's the team they were? All I remember is University of Maryland at Baltimore County.
Virginia, yeah.
And a 16 had never beaten a 1. And we just kept saying, we're watching on the TV in our room, and they're not going to win this. They're not. And then they did, and we were just running around going nuts because we'd witnessed history.
But then they couldn't win it after that.
Okay, it doesn't matter. That school has that on all of their promotional material now. It's something they'll never forget.
They
that's
hung a
great.
banner for it,
And that's
all that
great. I mean, that's awesome. But how many 16 seeds have beat a 1 seed?
It's
happened twice.
Okay, and how many years?
Okay.
The tournament went to 64. So basically, what we have now, like around 85.
But you have a lot of.
How many 16? Okay, it'd be like an 8 seed. How many 8 seeds or 9 seeds would you say have won the national championship?
Villanova did it very early. It was one of the first years they had the 64-team format. Connecticut with Shabazz Napier. Yeah, not the Kemba Walker team. They did it as like an 8. That's about it.
That's what I'm saying.
Usually about 4 is like if you're not one of the top 16 teams in the country, pretty rare you make a couple exceptions.
What I don't like is you're going to have a lot of these teams like in the MAC that are 24, 23, 22 spots, and they're going to get in.
I kind of do. I think it's going to be gobbled up by the SEC and
That's
the Big
what
Ten.
I think is
and
gonna
that's
happen.
what I don't
You
like
think?
about it.
I do. I think you're going to get 5 SEC.
You're going to get but at the top 25 during the season, though. During the season, I mean, like last year, right? Tulane, you got all these in the top.
James Madison.
James Madison
because
in the top
it was
25.
because it was guaranteed the top 5 conference champions. Duke had 5 losses, so
were,
they got
were
left
they
out.
ranked in the top 24? I'm thinking they were.
Yeah, they were like 24.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. I think you're going to have those in the early 20 spots. Going to be these teams where
But
it's like
in the NCAA basketball tournament, Mike, and in the FCS, which is 1AA, they have multiple automatic qualifiers. Every conference champion gets a seat at the table. This is different.
Well, it is.
This is just more of more.
Look, I understand why it's being pushed by the Big Ten and the SEC because they want more teams in because the networks are telling programs like Alabama and Georgia and LSU, they're saying, look, don't play Louisiana Tech LSU. Don't play South Alabama. Play
Penn
Ohio
State.
State. Play Penn State. Okay, so you're agreeing to play a tougher non-conference schedule, but that increases the chances that you might not get in.
Went from 10-2 to 8-4.
So the solution to that is to just, here's what I think is going to happen. And it won't be this way every year, but I think there'll be years in which half of the 25, and that's not an even number, but right around
24, yeah.
24. Half of the 24 teams will be from the Big Ten and the SEC. Half of them.
Absolutely. I think that's
So
pretty
that's
accurate.
6.
I mean, you've already got 34 teams in the Big Ten and the SEC
That's
already.
6 each. That's that. Arkansas might sneak in there one year.
So I don't think Arkansas fans want this. I don't. Even though you're right, Arkansas's access would be better at 24. But I don't think
I'd go to 32.
The college fan base does not want this. Overwhelmingly.
No, they don't.
Here's okay. I understand that, but think about it like this. I think if Arkansas is number 24, and they were playing against number 8 Ohio State, say first game of the playoff, I think we have a lot better shot winning that game than if we played on the first or second game of the year, just because of the aura is different. Hey, we made the playoffs. We go in this. Anything can happen. I think it's going to change some things that way. But if you're talking about number 8 Ohio State versus FIU, you know what I mean? Because they made it in there in the top 24 teams.
But don't you agree that the regular season is what makes college football so unique? That every week there's marquee matchups. The LSU-Arkansas game. Hey, LSU, you can't take the week off. That kind of thing. That's going to go away. You're going to talk about, some of these top teams in the country resting their players like you see in the NFL.
No, maybe, but I don't think that Alabama-Auburn's ever going to go away. I think that'll always be a rivalry. Always.
Michigan and
Florida,
We're not going to
Georgia.
set our players in a rivalry game.
No, but it's all. I don't know.
I think the networks.
Maybe. I mean, you may be right.
No, I agree with that. I think that it should mean enough to the schools and the kids. They shouldn't be sitting players for a rivalry game.
But how can you expect them not to, though, if you're going to have 16 games a year?
Greg Sankey, Mike, is pushing he's the only one left now, as far as I understand, that wants a 16-team playoff. And he says, well, this isn't good for the sport and all that, which I actually think is BS. You know what I really think he's worried about? Losing the SEC championship game, which makes the conference over $100 million because this 2014 proposal, Mike, calls for an end to conference championship
and
games.
I can understand his feelings on that. And it is nice to be able to say we're the conference champions. And if you had 2 teams didn't play each other and they were both undefeated, they could both claim it. It reminds me of the old days when I was a kid and you had UPI National Championship and AP, and they would both claim they won the national championship. Theoretically, Arkansas, a lot of people think Arkansas didn't win a national championship at 64 because they did name the national champions
Before
after
the
the
bowls.
regular season, so they didn't take the bowl into consideration, but Arkansas won a sports writers version.
Why don't you just give them an extra bye week during the playoffs if they win? Wouldn't that make teams want to play it then and be in it?
Well, that with the 2014 model, you'd have 8 teams getting a bye.
Well, I'm saying you have to switch it around to where it's beneficial for teams to want to play in the championship game.
Yeah, like maybe you have to win your conference to have a home game or something. I don't know what it would be. Win your conference.
Well, they're wanting to get rid of the championship game so they can start the playoffs earlier. That's the whole
makes
deal.
sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't like the season going to the end of January, but I don't like the idea of them starting the season in the middle of August. How would you have liked that as a player? You're reporting to camp.
Loved it.
So wait, you're reporting to camp here, July 20th. You got to practice.
See,
it's hot as hell.
We were reporting like August 6th, 7th. It was different for us. And then our first game was always September 1st. Or
Labor Day weekend.
Yeah. And so, but what I hated was you set around, like in the NFL, it's even worse.
Drive you crazy.
You have a month of training camp, then you have a month of preseason. It seems, you know what I mean? It just feels like it's
too
terrible.
long.
Oh gosh. And then in football, I would rather have like 2 weeks of camp, 2 weeks, than start the season.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that.
I would love that. Honestly,
Look,
you're sitting around way too long.
They know how to manage. First of all, they got rid of two-a-days because they understood you break a body, an athlete's body,
And certainly
down
the
too
head
much.
as well, yeah.
But what they do now is they've got so much science behind all of this, and they know how to avoid. You don't see guys dropping dead anymore like they used to because they figured this out.
Were they not smart enough to figure out, hey, two-a-days are breaking down these guys' bodies?
They did not.
They're an idiot.
Well,
I mean, they saw us out there.
A lot of NFL teams used to, I don't think colleges, but a lot of NFL teams used to go to Wisconsin or New England. I know the Saints used to go to Wisconsin. There were other teams that would the Cowboys would go to Southern California to get out of the heat.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, most of the teams just have it at their facility.
It's
now.
not the
Did you guys go to
heat.
college?
What?
Cleveland?
Yeah, I went to college, University of Arkansas.
The Steelers have their training camp at a small college.
Yeah,
Did Cleveland have theirs at a college?
No, we actually had ours there, but they used to have it at Baldwin Wallace before I was there. And then
very few teams still do this.
And then Kansas City went to
they were another Wisconsin team, and now I think it's in Missouri.
But to me, it's not the heat. It is every day for a month, being on the field 2 days, just hitting each other.
Break you
down your body. The heat, whatever. But I'm amazed that people are like, you're saying they weren't like, hey, these guys' bodies are going downhill.
Our coaches in high school they didn't know any of this stuff. They wouldn't let us have water during 2 days. They said it made you a wuss if you
soft.
drank too
You
much
need water. Ridiculous.
And they would give us these salt tablets, which were the worst thing you could do. And guys would just be falling out. And the coach I remember this one coach. The guy named Donnie Dubry, he was a defensive tackle, and the coach goes over to him at practice and just kicking him. Get up, Donnie, get up. Come on, you wuss.
But, okay, we went from that in the generation to now, like my kids' generation, where if they run after practice, the parents are like, oh, my God, I'm so mad.
Yeah,
I'm so mad at the coach.
It's gone too far.
It is gone.
Does your son, does he wear the pillow?
No, he will never.
You have to, I think.
He will never, ever, ever. I'm sorry.
What if it's mandated?
What is that condom going to do on his head? I mean, come on.
Apparently, it reduces concussions by 40%, something like that. I didn't make it up.
Here's what's going to happen.
I think the Arkansas.
I think the government's been giving out these numbers.
The Arkansas Athletic Association, I believe, mandates that kids have to wear the helmets in practice, the pillows in practice.
You're going to lose this because here's what's going to happen eventually. They're going to make helmets like that. It won't be a cover you put on it. The entire helmet will be soft like that and spongy.
I'm about to go in my car, and when I start driving, just put a sock on my head.
Well,
and act like that's going to make me more
They've
protected.
said all along that you were actually safer when they had those leather helmets back in the 20s and 30s because they had fewer concussions.
Well, you're not going to lead in there with your head when you have that stuff.
If they took the face mask off the helmets, I bet you'd have less concussions.
Oh, I bet you have less everything. Nobody wants to mess up that face.
But you would have to dramatically play the game different.
Oh, yeah.
James Harrison, who's putting his face mask in his chest, he'd be dead by now.
Well, it wouldn't be passing the ball a whole lot across the middle and stuff like that. Or maybe it would. I mean, I would think that they'd be running the ball.
It would be a fascinating experiment.
Oh, it would. I would like to see that.
So going back to the playoff here, Peyton, the fans don't want this. They like the regular season. It means something. Maybe they would stomach 16. Seems like a lot of people, myself included. I'm a fan. I want 12. We're talking about moving the season up. So now we're going to put the fans in aluminum bleachers in the middle of August, and over half the sport is played in the South. So if it's not good for the fans and the fans don't want it, why are they pushing it forward?
Money.
TV,
money.
Don't we need better people in charge that want to protect the sport? that love the sport and think like, hey, this is great. We just put a bunch of money in our pockets, but what's the game going to look like in 15 years? Whenever there's only 30 teams that can afford to play it or whatever.
I don't know. I just think it's like a lot with this country when you have a centralized government that's a few thousand miles away. I don't think they really understand what Arkansans need, but we give them the go ahead to say, hey, we'll let you take care of us. We have a bunch of guys in the NCAA that think they're going to take care of everybody, but they don't. They just care about the bottom line.
Well, Mike, this could be different. College basketball, they've eroded the regular season with these games, and we care so much about the playoff. Do you think that could potentially happen to college football, where the regular season will just mean less, or is the country just too hungry for football?
No, I think what will happen is if you have – I think this is a two-way thing. I think, yes, you want to make the playoffs include more teams, and you want to – make a team be able to get into the playoffs even with 4 losses maybe if they're still a pretty good team. But I think it will make the regular season better because you're going to see more of these teams willing to play each other. There are going to be more bigger games in the regular season.
Should they go to 10 conference games? If you're not going to have a conference championship game,
that
why not play 10 SEC games?
That would be fine. The point is you want to eliminate games that aren't attractive to a TV audience. And the loser in all this is going to be the mid-majors because they're not going to get to – how are they going to fund their program anymore? I mean, they're
the bye games go away.
Yeah, the Louisiana Techs of this world, that a big part of their athletic budget comes from playing these non-conference games and getting a $3 million guarantee for each game, that goes away. And, you're just going to have to play other teams.
I just think a lot of colleges are going to go away.
Exactly. They're not going to have football programs.
Well, I honestly think it's going to make it worse. And let me tell you why. I mean, like this past year, you're talking about Texas and Notre Dame getting in, right?
Well, Texas was one of the first teams out. Notre Dame was the first team out.
But now you're going to talk about a bunch of 3, 4, 5 lost teams in the hunt. Now they're going to be, well, no, they should have been in it. No, they should have been in there. And now you're going to have that from 1 to 24.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's going to be.
I think you absolutely should be afforded. This was a problem with college football for a really long time, but it was also what made it unique. You couldn't lose a game, and that changed scheduling and all that stuff. I think you should be afforded a mulligan. And I think once you lose that second game, if you're in a major conference, you should be on life support. Like, hey, no more. We got to lock in. And even Vanderbilt last year, 10-2 wasn't good enough. They got left out. Now they lost their 2 biggest games of the year, but still that wasn't good enough. And you talk about the money and people cutting and what's going to be left by football. We haven't talked to you in a while. Arkansas is one of the proudest athletic departments in the country. The tennis program, which may not be dead just yet, for now is going away. How disappointing is that to you as an alum?
It's disappointing, and I think it has a lot to do with what Mike was just saying about Louisiana Tech. I think you're going to see a lot of sports go away in college programs, and I think you're going to see a lot of college football colleges and football go away too, because they're going to consolidate the money and they're going to, and everything's going to be focused in on a couple of conferences.
Rich get richer.
Poor get poor. Exactly.
I mean, it could go back to non-scholarship sports. You could still have tennis. You could still have.
That's what Bucknam said when we had him on.
You could have some of these sports, but they're just non-scholarship. You're an athlete. You still got to go to class. You're going to have to pay your own way.
Scholarships aren't the problem. The problem is the travel, the NIL.
Yeah.
Things like the facilities. That's the expense. Just the scholarship, isn't necessarily.
I mean, you may be talking about playing just a schedule where you can get on a bus and go there. I mean, that's one of the things that Tom Pucci, the guy that sort of got the tennis program rolling in the mid to late 70s. Frank Broyles wanted that. He saw tennis as a marketable spring sport.
And it was bigger than golf, at the time, with some American stars, things like that.
And he liked it because you only needed 6 scholarships. So Tom said he gave me my 6 scholarships. He bought us a van and he said, go play wherever you have to play. And we rode everywhere on that van. He said we wore it out. We just drove it to oblivion.
But think about the money that was being brought in then till now. And y'all were doing with much less.
Yeah.
Now we're bringing in so much more.
Well,
and it seems like
they're still crying poor.
But you didn't
exactly. That's the point I don't understand.
Here's where it started, when they started paying coaches out the wazoo. I mean, when Frank was,
which pissed off the players.
when I got here, Frank was making what, $250,000 a year as a head coach. I mean, then it just exploded. It got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I don't know where it's going to stop, right? And it's already up to 10 or 12 million.
But that's just it, though. I mean, all the money they're paying the coaches and the players, they're making way more money than all that too, though.
They are.
And I'm not saying that every player or coach is worth that, but crap, man, I think the lawyers screw up.
We got a family friend that has a player playing in a mid-major school. I won't name it because I don't want people to figure it out. Apparently making over $100,000 at a mid-major school as a sophomore. Starter, good player. But that kind of money's being thrown around. I mean, I think now if you're in the SEC and you're a real starter, not an injury starter or something like that, you're probably making around $250,000.
Okay. I'm starting to think that these like colleges, and especially athletic departments, are coming like charities or GoFundMes. I mean, like, what did I hear about? They want the students to start paying for stuff online, right? For what was it, parking or ticket? I don't know what it was.
Activity fee.
You're like funding or something. I mean, like everything now is going to be like, it's like everybody's favorite video game. I'm going to put money into this because I'm going to feel like I'm a part of it. And I think that's what they're trying to shoot for.
And I love this point about college sports. Mike and I have talked about this a little bit. The business model that we have, here's why it's not sustainable. If you invest in a form of currency or in a stock or in a restaurant or whatever, a car dealer, you expect there to be an ROI. Like, okay, here, I'll give you $1 million. When am I going to see my return?
Yeah.
If I'm Johnny Tyson or Peyton Hillis and I give Arkansas $1 million, what do I get out of that other than we won a couple more football games?
Exactly right.
There's no business model like that in the world.
But, and somehow it works, which is even crazier. But there's
because
like
rich people like to
Tyson,
say, hey, we got you on the field. They like that. They like that feeling. Feels like it's theirs.
But weren't we talking about they're going to have like
Tyson logos, yeah.
I mean,
for big money. Big money.
I don't know really what that's going to do for John
There
Tyson
may
either.
be just a little ray of hope because just this week, remember what Cal said about 6 months ago about all these lawsuits? Every time, first the NCAA and then the College Sports Commission, every time they tried to enforce a rule, somebody threatened to sue them and they didn't do it. Well, the College Sports Commission has just started investigating NILs. They're just getting started. And one of the first places they targeted was Nebraska.
Yep. Because
one of their rules is all of these schools have I don't know what you call it. It's a business arrangement. Like with Arkansas, they have a company, Learfield, that does, I think that Learfield is the one that does the Hogs Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Learfield, sponsors different things. They run your coaches' shows and give money to the coaches from the coaches' show and all that. Well, this was Nebraska's version of that. And what they did was they stepped up and offered $1 million to 3 football players.
Phony money.
Each one of them got it. And that's against the rules of this new College Sports Commission. And so for the first time, the College Sports Commission said, no, you can't do this. It's against the rules. Their agents, those 3 athletes, sued them. And they lost. It just happened. They lost. And it's the first time somebody's got a backbone and told these agents, you don't control everything.
Yep.
It may be that we're seeing the end of this, that there is going to be a rev sharing thing and a salary cap. Nobody's saying athletes shouldn't make money. I'm saying that your quarterback should make $6 million and your offensive linemen make $300,000. That's crazy. They got to normalize
$300,000 for an offensive lineman.
But that's just
20-year-old kid.
Well, that's just it too. I mean, there's going to be a union then for the players.
Or something.
But the players don't necessarily want a union.
But they're tough noogies.
Yeah,
they're going to have it anyway, baby. I mean, I don't care. When you have that much money and lawyers involved, I promise you that thing's coming. It's coming fast.
Well, you dealt with the union. I don't know if you were in the league when they had the work stoppage,
Oh,
right?
yes. I was there.
Were you pissed off at Players Association director? Like, hey, wait, I'm missing paychecks here. Figure this out.
It wasn't even the paycheck part as much. It was the preparation part. They cut out all camps, in the summer and showed up like a week late for training camp because it just, got in. Nobody was ready, prepared. Had another, had a preseason game like a week after we showed up. I mean, everything was on pins and needles, and we were just going so fast through it. But I just think that whenever you have now these unions, and you're gonna have the coaches versus the players, and the organizations, the college versus the only bad things are going to happen than what it was before. And it just sucks when you bring more lawyers, more money in. It's just only going to be.
And in the NFL,
it's a business now. It's no more fun. This is not college
Yes.
anymore. This is a business. And you said it to me before, and you have to suck it up or change it.
moving on to the business thing, Ryan Silverfield did an interview recently with Pete Nakos, On3 writer, very plugged in, super college football insider. Didn't really like the tone of some of the things that Mr. Silverfield said here. Now, I love Ryan. I think he's you got the All In Road show here coming up. He's going to be out shaking hands, kissing babies. Very similar to the Razorback Club meetings of years back. They're kind of bringing that back a little bit more modified. But whenever he said the thing that stood out to me, the absolute most in this article, and the context of it is just, well, we're not going to get into bidding wars. Mike, why not? This is the game. You got to pay the players. You're not going to just win on character and kids that want to be here. So why can't Arkansas adapt to the times where they have to pay these kids more than some other school?
Well, maybe he just understands. I mean, he's there every day. He talks to Yurichek. Maybe he understands how much money he's got, and he knows how much money other schools have, how much Texas has, and he realizes, just like Cal, he's gone through this. He went after several true centers and lost them because he wasn't going to pay. He didn't have the money to pay $5 million to a center from Georgia that scored 9 points a game. I thought that was nuts anyway.
God, we need a center. And I actually 100% everything you just said, I agree with. That's exactly how I feel about it.
So why can't Arkansas go out and win bidding wars?
Because they don't have the money.
Well, we got a top 10 baseball coach in salary. We got a top 10 basketball coach in salary.
Well, in salary, are you talking about the coach or players?
I'm talking about the whole dude. Money's money. Whether you're paying the players or the coach or the assistants or the parking attendants,
no, that's totally
or the whatever.
No, paying coaches and paying players at every sport is different, and you know that.
It is.
Now, come on.
Well, fine.
Paying Calipari or paying Van Horn's a lot different than just paying some snot-nosed 19-year-old kid to come in because you think he has potential, right? I mean, that's totally different.
What a great line. That was a great line. But
I think he knows what he's got to spend, and what he's saying is, and he may have gotten this from Cal. He's saying, I'm not going to get. If I have to get into a bidding war for a player and pay more for him than he's worth, I can't afford that.
Does it feel to you, Peyton, like Arkansas is always playing catch up? And here's what I mean by that. It feels like for 2026, hey, last year this was a lot of money. We would have been able to compete a little bit better in 2025. Yeah, but last year's price ain't this year's price.
I know,
it seems like they're always a step behind.
Well, you really can't blame it on Arkansas in that sense. I mean, whoever's heading up this organization with NIL and with lawyers being involved and lawsuits happening, I mean, your big dogs are going to eat first. I mean, survival of the fittest. Your Georgias, your Texas,
Notre Dame, et cetera. Yeah.
All those guys are going to eat first. They always have ate first. And then everybody else that comes after them, I mean, I just think it's an order thing. And if Arkansas is going to change it up and be a part of that group, I mean, things at the top have to change.
Mike, do you think fans would really care if Arkansas spent a lot of money? Like, I never hear people from Alabama or Texas or Ohio State saying like, oh yeah, we went 10-2, but it's only because we spent all that money. So would Arkansas fans sit there with a 9 or a 10 win season and be like, oh yeah, this is great, but hey, it's only because all I hear is we can't compete because we don't have the money.
Some fans would probably take that attitude. As most fans, as long as they weren't the ones that paid it, they'd be perfectly happy with it.
I don't think SMU's fans
Here's
care,
the elephant in the room when it comes to Arkansas and money. The elephant in the room is the Walton family. They are multi-billionaires.
Don't get me started.
And no one has been able to go and convince them to help. The people that work at Walmart, the guys at the top, have spent a lot of money, but not billions. Somebody told me the other day, they said the first person in the athletic department that could go up and talk to the actual members of Alice Walton and I guess she's got brothers and
she went to Missouri, I believe.
They've got grandkids.
Oh, that's where their money goes. Isn't that
well,
fascinating?
is
Isn't
Missouri?
that
How much
fascinating?
better is Missouri than Arkansas?
So the first person that goes up there and gets $1 billion, you saw, because that's what Texas Tech did. They got a guy out there who's a billionaire, and he went, "Here's $1 billion. Do whatever you want with it."
Why should the Walton
Hey.
family be responsible to fund Arkansas athletics?
I'm not saying they should.
No,
They
me
should-
either.
But I would like to get in front of them. I'd like to be that guy that he's
Yeah,
talking about.
that's
Get
right.
in front of them.
That's what I'm talking about.
Could Houston not get the money from the Walton family?
I think he could
He-
sell a
he'd
ketchup
give it a
popsicle
run
to a
for
woman in
his-
white gloves. Hey, if there was somebody, I'll go with it. Be him.
I just think there's somebody that could do it. And when we're talking about this tennis thing, let me just tell you what somebody told me. And it was somebody that's been involved in Razorback tennis going back, way back. And here's what I was told. Sam Walton, the original big dog, Sam Walton was a tennis player. He loved playing tennis. His kids went to Arkansas tennis camps. If you want money if you ever hope to get money from the Waltons, you don't get rid of the tennis program. It doesn't look good.
I think that's a great, even indirectly, I think that's a great point of donors being like, this is kind of gross. Like, really? You're cutting tennis over $2 million? Like, you're Arkansas. So the optics around, it's not about tennis and nobody goes and nobody cares. And a month from now, everybody's going to forget that it was cut. It's the optics of that decision.
Where they screwed up is there are a lot of what I would call mid-level boosters, not the big billionaires, but people with money that give money to Arkansas athletics. There are a lot of those people that play tennis or their kids play tennis. And now they're kind of getting mad. Well, what's this all about? Oh, what are they doing that for? If he'd have cut another sport, maybe they wouldn't have cared. I don't know. But a lot of these boosters like tennis. That's what I'm being told.
You know, why would Ryan say what he said, though, about
Bidding?
we're not going to get into bidding war. It's like, it just seems like something, leave that alone. Don't go there. I tell this to my wife whenever we get in an argument about something. It's like, yeah, I know I said that, but I didn't like literally mean it. It just kind of came, you know what I mean? Like, you say things that, just didn't sound right, kind of thing.
No, it's your tone. It's how you said it, not what you said. And we can pick apart everything that Ryan says and imply what he meant. I mean, with anything, right? Like, you can seriously, you can say we're not getting a bidding war, and I agree with Mike, of course. I think it just means, like, when you know how much money you have and you know what you can spend for this kid, you know that you're not going to get him, so you just move on. I can see that. But then you can also say, I can see him saying, I'm not trying. I mean, it's all about how you imply what he's saying. And I mean, you can do whatever you want, but
I mean, his job, to be honest with you, money is not the only answer. I promise you.
No.
LSU spent more money on its baseball team this year than any team in the country, and they're horrible.
They're horrible.
They brought in the wrong guys, and they paid them a lot of money. So just giving a guy big bucks doesn't mean he's a – so what Silverfield has to do, it's sort of the old school thing when you recruit it anyway. Go out and find that guy that everybody's overlooking because he's out there. I promise you, everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere I look, I see players like that. And that's the whole thing where Burlsworth came from. That whole thing with Burlsworth, he was overlooked.
You need a great recruiter. You needed somebody that comes in and knows football and knows players. But now the game has changed so much where it feels like you can just implement guys in places to try to fulfill the role, like what Tom Brady did in New England. I just feel like a lot of teams are doing that now. They just feel like especially Lane Kiffin, what he does, and what he's going to do in LSU. I'm not so big that they're going to be that great this year. I'm just not. I'm not
there
thinking
could
that.
be a problem there.
I really think there's going to be, but that's just my opinion.
He's pushed it. He's pushed it and pushed it. I think he had a great situation at Ole Miss. Those
He
people
did.
bought in. They bought in. That was
He really couldn't get fired.
That was a grassroots thing he had going on there where just every Joe Blow was given $10 and $15, and he walked out on those people. That's dumb. And especially where he went. That's the most unforgiving place on the planet.
It was
They
just
fired the last two coaches that won national titles.
You
have
don't
been
make
fired.
them happy, they'll run you out in a minute.
It's just about money. That's all it was for him. There's no ifs,
No,
ands, and buts about
Ole
it.
Miss, no.
No.
Ole Miss said they would match it.
I think it also had to do
Resources, right?
Okay.
I think
What the program is willing to pay.
I think what he what he kind of concluded was he couldn't win a national championship at Ole Miss, but he could at LSU. And I don't think he's going. I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think so either.
And then they were.
What do you mean? They almost won it this year without him.
I know, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
And I think they played for Pete Golding. They really did. There's another quote that Ryan had here about the context of it is, why hasn't there been success? This was Ryan's words, and again, parenthetically, why hasn't there been success here in the last 15 years? We've done good things. We've had good coaches. We've had good players. Is it sports science? Is it lack of data? Is it lack of coaching? What is it? Dude, you lived it. It can't just be lack of money. Why has it been so bad for 15 years?
Well, I don't know if you can, talk bad about what he says. And I don't even know what he said. But whenever you're in the lion's den and you have to sit there and say, hey, why aren't we winning in the past 15? You can't really say any reason because it makes you and your program look bad. Or the people that you're working for.
He wasn't a part of that anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't want to just dump on people that were here before.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really.
And Pittman did good things. Bielema did a couple good things.
What you were saying about Kiffin and Ole Miss, everybody bought in, right?
Yeah.
There is something that happened when Coach Nutt left. And I think Petrino, like he was great when he came in. He did good things, but I felt like that down home roots, closeness of what Arkansas football camaraderie was. Kind of went out the window at that point.
I agree.
And now everything's been about a business and everything else, and there's nobody that's really bought in, and nobody's shares the same focus or goal to win. Everything's just up in the air. It's felt like that for the past 20 years or so. It really has.
I just think NIL Arkansas didn't understand it.
Weren't prepared.
Hunter Yurchek didn't understand it. Pittman didn't the first NIL money he gave was to 2 players. He gave it all to 2 guys.
KJ Jefferson and
KJ Jefferson and the running back
Rocket Sanders.
Rocket Sanders, and all the other guys on the team are going, what are you doing here? What about us? I mean, you just split that team apart, and then Jefferson is showing up. He's flying his parents to games in a chartered private plane. When they do that hog walk, he's wearing an Armani suit, walking down there, $3,000 suit, and these other guys are wearing their $59 suit. They got it,
idiots.
Dillards. I mean, come on. It didn't work.
You guys are talking about the most valuable athletic programs. I don't know how they quantify this, whatever, but I'm gonna take it as legit here. What I'm seeing on the internet: Texas, number 1, $1.48 billion. Ohio State, number 2, 1.35. Texas A&M, that surprised me. Number 3, $1.32 billion. I go down to number 18. I take that back. Number 24, the Arkansas Razorbacks, $800 million. Let me tell you some of the schools they are valued ahead of. Number 27, Indiana, $775 million. They just won the national title in football. Florida State, Miami, Ole Miss, North Carolina, Kansas. These are all big, big brands with big, big basketball programs. Some of them big football programs.
These are athletic departments.
These are athletic department numbers. Again, okay. Texas on top, $1.48 billion. Arkansas, number 24, $800 million. So anyways, you got the money. Figure it out. $800 million. If that's what you're valued at, figure it out.
I still believe coaching is ultimately what does it.
Would you rather spend more money on coaching, or would you rather spend more money on coaching or players?
Coaching.
I mean, Peyton, come on. You know this. There are guys out there that will go for the highest money, but most of them won't. What most of them will do is they'll say, okay, I really like these coaches, and they're offering me this, and these guys are offering me more, but I want to go here.
There is no doubt about it. Or a quarterback. When you have a quarterback, you have a good head coach. I felt like kind of everything falls into place, and I think it's even better in the college ranks since you don't have a salary cap. And what you're seeing at Kansas City right now with Mahomes and Andy Reid, they're eating that now because how much they paid him 3 years ago.
Yeah.
They will never be the same. I'm
that
saying it now.
QB contract's valuable.
He also, I think in his contract, though, if he'd have won the Super Bowl in his first contract, he got I forgot how much
a large
money.
bonus, something like that.
But anyway, they will never be the same again. And I'm saying that. I don't think Mahomes does anything else at Kansas City for the rest of the time because of the salary cap.
Out of time here, gentlemen. It's been fun. I'm glad we're all in agreement. It's 12 teams on the playoff. Keep it there.
No, I want 32.
We also agree. Arkansas, nobody cares about your profit margin. Spend the money. Get this thing figured out.
They might as well just say whoever's the top 24 highest grossing athletic programs can be in the playoff. That's might as well what they say.
If you looked at the rankings, I bet there wouldn't be a ton of variance. A little bit, but not a lot between the highest valued and such is life, right? The more money you spend, usually the better product you're going to have. Out of time. Thanks for Mike Irwin stopping by here. Peyton Hillis, as always. Thank you, guys.